If you spend any time on mental health social media, you've probably run across videos discussing the 4 subtypes of borderline personality disorder, or BPD. But as a psychologist specializing in the treatment of BPD for over 20 years, I look at these categories with a highly skeptical eye because I see overlap in them, and I also find that people with BPD may have characteristics of multiple subtypes, for starters. The closest you'll hear me get to talk about subtypes are global ideas of internalized and externalized BPD, which speaks to acting in versus acting out. So the 4 subtypes were originally proposed by Theodore Millon, an expert in personality disorders. These profiles are not actual clinical diagnoses. You're not going to see these in the DSM. But exploring them can be a useful tool to understand how a dysregulated nervous system attempts to manage intense pain. Let's look at the 4 profiles and the reality of how emotional dysregulation actually presents. So first is the discouraged profile. This is often referred to as quiet BPD. So on the outside, this individual often appears highly compliant, dependent, cooperative, but underneath the surface, they're carrying a profound amount of shame. When their system gets triggered by a fear of abandonment, they don't explode outward. Instead, their emotional storm collapses inward, more of an implosion than an explosion. They experience the distress internally, so they shut down, withdraw, maybe ice people out, or engage in hidden self-sabotage while suffering in complete silence. So I would describe this as a form of internalized or acting in BPD. Second is the self-destructive profile. So this one is fueled by an agonizing level of internal self-loathing. Their entire identity is warped by a deeply ingrained belief that they're fundamentally broken. Like the quiet profile, their anger is directed inward, but it takes on a highly punishing quality. When they experience a crisis, they treat themselves as an enemy. They may consciously ruin their own success, maybe skip meals, sabotage their sleep, or make overt, dangerous gestures to cry out for help. I would describe this as a form of internalized BPD also. Third is the petulant profile. So this presentation is marked by severe irritability, defiance, and a deeply pessimistic outlook. These individuals frequently feel misunderstood, unloved, and slighted by the world around them. Then when emotional dysregulation hits, the presentation is highly volatile. They'll alternate rapidly between clinging desperately to a relationship and pushing that person away with biting sarcasm, stubbornness, or sudden outbursts of anger. I would describe this as a form of externalized or acting out BPD. And then fourth is the impulsive profile. So on the surface, this individual is often energetic, highly charismatic, engaging, but they possess a dangerously low frustration tolerance. When their threat detection hardware gets triggered, they don't just feel an emotion, they externalize it instantly. So their internal state drives them straight into reckless, thrill-seeking behaviors. They may run to different vices, spend money impulsively, jump into risky situations, or even pick physical fights as a way to numb that internal pressure. So I would describe this as a form of externalized BPD also. Now, in clinical practice, as I referenced, human psychology is fluid. A person's operating system doesn't perfectly lock into just one of these 4 boxes forever. An individual might present as quiet and discouraged for years until a massive relationship betrayal triggers a highly volatile, petulant season. These 4 profiles aren't rigid, separate categories of software. They're different defensive strategies used by a brain that feels completely unsafe. Let's audit your system in the comments. If you're willing to share, does looking at these 4 distinct profiles give you more clarity on how emotional dysregulation actually presents? Drop your thoughts below and let's talk about it.